Ladies and gentlemen, the Golden Knights forward team. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Thank you so much for taking the time after your training. You're done for today.
Yeah.
Except for the coach will still be yelling at you for a little while. That's still coming. We decided to do this before because, when the coach is always yelling at you, it puts you in a kind of a bad mood or something. So anyway, Niklas has been busy still doing something there. And I saw Skylar earlier here.
Mm-hmm.
He is flying, right?
Yeah, they're up there training with just a put together 4-way team, just for the extra reps. As we know that Skylar will be taking one of our slots, my slot in particular, next year, as I will be stepping out. So we're just getting him spun up and familiar with 4-way. And
you are kidding, or
no?
Are you serious?
Yeah, we're serious. So yeah, we're just getting him ready for the future.
Well, that's the breaking news. I had no idea. No, you are kidding, Jesse. I don't believe that. Right? I believe it when I see it.
That's on the bag.
Is he joking or not? Tell me. I mean, better.
No, it's been no secret. After this World Meet, 2026 World Meet, Jesse's gonna go on to do bigger and better things. He'll stay in the organization for another year or so?
Yeah, year and a half.
Oh, yeah, you have some other plans. We talked about this. Okay, well, good luck with all that. So now that actually makes total sense of Skylar.
Yeah.
So he will take the slot.
That's why we selected him. Yeah, we selected Skylar not just because of his video skills, but knowing that he's going to be a good competitor in slot when one of us moves on. So.
Well, I guess I have to talk to him too a little bit. He must be really excited, about this.
You should absolutely do that.
Yeah. So he is totally excited now. I mean, you're totally excited too to go to the World Meet, win it as a goodbye for Jesse then.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, well, that's breaking news. I did not know, but I'm always the last one knowing things anyway. So okay, well, I've been holding off with touching a nerve now anyway, because we were talking about this before. Briefly before we started, before we got on record, talking about so how do you explain now that you sucked at the last competition now? And you've probably heard this question a few times, that people asking you what was going on in Spain. We expected you to win, and what was your answer?
Well, I'll take this one. It's kind of a fun one to answer. I think we've gotten really good at it. To be very frank with you, the last few years, I think that was probably one of our most important goals to achieve, is how do we perform when it matters. And I think every time our criteria has been different, we've always made new mistakes in a lot of ways. And that's nothing new to be not satisfied with the result. I think this team has a lot of grit and determination to continue to clear old tasks or objectives on how we get better. So we're hungry for a result, and we're breaking some eggs along the way. And I think that's how we kind of roll up Spain's performance. We broke a lot of eggs in Spain. We had a lot of omelets, and we're looking forward to the rest of the competitions this year.
Yeah, I mean, last year, from a different perspective, from an observer's perspective, but you couldn't have been much more successful than that. You won the National Indoor Championship, that wasn't really gimme, and you won the National Outdoor Championship, the USPA Nationals, which was also not a gimme. Oh, there he is, the boy. Come and grab a chair. You want to join us?
No, I'm too busy for these guys. I'm very popular these days. So,
well, I'll grab you at some point later. Then.
I do apologize for the interruption.
And then you would say hi to the audience at least, please, quickly there.
Hello to the audience.
Yeah.
This is a filter. Normally I don't look in this old. It's a filter.
Now he's losing weight. He's skinny. Look at him. Fit like never before.
If you had my headaches, you wouldn't eat.
You gotta drink.
We're just gonna.
Yeah, we're there.
Okay, so let's continue to talk about the headaches. The Spanish headache. Well, again, first, it was a pretty successful year. You have the privilege now to compete for the United States at the World Championship. So the last year must have been a good one. The tricky thing that we are dealing with at the moment is that we have an incredible French forward team that is a very worthy opponent, right? You're studying what they're doing.
Yeah, we're. They're impressive flyers. To see their development as a team has been really fun to watch. The performance at Windor was, it was. As competitors, we acknowledge and we there's beauty in really good quality four-way, and they have uncovered something in the tunnel that not a lot of teams do. And then credit also to the Belgians. Habusa looked really clean, and Gary's been doing great work with them. So I think that meet was extremely educational all around, and the international scene for four-way is very healthy right now. So it's a pretty exciting time to be in the sport.
I think it was one of the strongest fields ever. I cannot remember a four-way competition where the top 10 was as high as of a performance as this one. Pretty amazing. Yeah, I've been asking myself that question too. The French are on the highest level right now, obviously, but they're not even at the Hayabusa level. Remember the days when the signature lineup was close to 35 average or whatever?
Right.
The French look like unbeatable, but they're at 33 average. So what's coming from Hayabusa? You saw them there. What do you think? You said they left a good impression on you.
In my opinion, Gary going more full-time, working with the team, it looks like they have just stuck to their process. And, I think having a coach like Gary, or for us, Hemlin, it's the sounding board that high-level teams always need. And I know it's a lot easier when you're in a coached environment, that the team can kind of rely on that as a source of reliability, right? He's going to give you all that outside perspective that you need to grow and learn. So I think probably that's a huge factor. I think they would agree with that. But it's also, they have this level of confidence. I think that's something that all teams should desire. They don't feel like they have to go faster than they need to. And it's always healthy framework. If you look at the 19 Hayabusa lineup or 16, 17, they stuck to their framework. And I think that's ultimately what unlocked the 35 average, is because it was technically proficient still. So that's certainly our roadmap for this year, right? Is how do we stay technically healthy through every round? And
So when you were watching them in Spain, specifically the French team and Hayabusa, are you going how do you do it as an individual? Are you looking specifically at your slot more than other slots, or what? How do you at all look at them? Do you have time to look at them live, or are you busy with your preparations?
We generally would finish our round, and then we would stop to watch the last several teams competing, and then we would go down and begin our process, which is talking about the jump, what our arousal levels were, what things we can improve on for the next round, and then we begin our prep. But usually we would sit and we would watch, and then after the meet, we watch all the top teams' footage.
So you're really taking it apart, dissecting it, you would say, right?
Oh yeah, deep dive into the whole meet.
Yeah. So what do you see, especially if you take, Hayabusa and French, both of them are flying the right-hand pattern, right? So what does your body and your mind do with that when you see it's not really your move? Your move is, I don't know if the engineering at least is kind of similar, but it's a strange feeling when I see that. I cannot really, copy the thought of it.
Yeah, I think you just get used to it. We've been watching a Hayabusa video before I even started competing in four-way. Looking up old the lineup of the century, which is Hayabusa in 2016. So yeah, you get used to it. But I would also say that the difference between both teams, the French and Hayabusa, they have very different styles of flying, and it's cool to kind of pick them both apart and kind of apply what you learn from both teams to your own flying.
So what is your biggest takeaway? If you can put, I mean, I'm sure you're sorting it in a way. One is level, one is keying, one is vertical, whatever it is. If you could sum this up briefly, if possible at all, and if you are willing to do that, looking at the French team, looking at Hayabusa, what is different compared to the Golden Knights?
Well, I think what will always win, like the right recipe, right? I think that's your question.
Yeah.
What we saw at Windor.
The Golden Knights recipe.
Well, I think the winning recipe for four-way,
Okay.
really maybe for other formation events as well, it's what's the calmest and most consistent size, builds, to where you're anticipating the right things. Something we've been talking a lot is fly exactly as you prep, which means, flying the setups, flying the pictures, and then being consistent, right? So if you're gonna have 6 pages or 7 pages, for all of those pages to be identical, so there's no more guessing, right? There's no more making things up along the way, because that's where those deficiencies will bleed into busts, or people getting too much like hype, if that makes sense. They kind of lose a sense of themselves in the sequencing. So I think again, Hayabusa was extremely methodical. Their jumps don't look fast, yet they yielded a high score. And I think again, if you look at the greatest four-way lineup, which is Hayabusa 16, 17, with Dave and Andy in the center. Sure, it's fast, but it's small, and they're able to just work like clockwork around each other very well. And the French are unlocking that. And I think that's that significant jump we've seen in them lately, is they're figuring that out. And it's exciting to see any team kind of have that discovery.
And it's interesting because they are surely not helping each other, especially between France and Hayabusa. There's a border between the two countries, Belgium and France. Well, there's a lot of open talking and and helping, but I think between the French team and Hayabusa, well, there isn't really much communication. So they are really going their own ways somehow. So because you said they're keying it or unlocking it, kind of, what Hayabusa idea, but without help from Hayabusa, without help from Gary, there's no connection. They somehow unlock it.
Yeah, well, we all can be students of the sport, right? We all we live in the age of technology, and we're dissecting it frame by frame. Coming out of Windor, it's wonderful because we have so many different views and perspectives of every team, of every round. It's information overload. It's actually really wonderful to have all the data points. So it's certainly more complicated if you don't have a coach unlocking their secrets. You have to earn it, but I think France has done a great job at doing that, and that rotational theory has definitely taken a precedence, and maybe is the front runner for the way we attack four-way now. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be in sport.
Wow, interesting and exciting. What did you make of? I mean, you're looking obviously, at the other teams. What do you think of the new Esquivel? Have you watched them too? I mean, I don't know if they do something special and different compared to Hayabusa France, but they're out there now with the new slots.
Yeah. I mean, picking up Michelle recently, she's obviously very good and talented, and I think just the timing of it all, probably they would say they wish they had a little bit more time to prep for that meet. I think anyone would feel that way, but they're going to be a very good team, and I think they were very hungry to get back to training and really unlock their potential. So it's going to be an exciting team to watch this year.
Yeah, there cannot be. I mean, it would be a miracle if they could be competitive at the end of the month, right? We're talking about the end of the month for the indoor championship.
Yep.
That's a little bit quick. Coming up soon, Golden Knights at the indoor championship, defending the title. Is that any pressure? You're defending champion, having to. I mean, you are. Yeah, I know you.
I think the pressure we feel is the pressure we put on ourselves to perform. It's not a comparison against other teams. It's how good of a product can we produce, and I think that's the thing that all teams should strive for. It's what is the best version of ourselves that we can put forth.
Last question: was it kind of annoying or difficult to deal with the feedback that you got after the event, you know, that Hayabusa is further away, France is further away. How do you deal with that? Just say, yes, or no commentary, or
I mean, I feel there's always you're always going to compare yourself to the other teams. Ultimately, though, you take lessons learned from that and see, okay, what is it that we need to improve on? What were our missteps in the competition? What is our roadmap forward? And use that as motivation to make your next jump.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it naturally gives you a sense of hunger. You know, Hemlin says it all the time really well. I'd rather be the hungry challenger than the fearful champion. So,
who said that?
Hemlin, Nick Hemlin.
Oh, Hemlin. Oh, wow, that's a good. That should make the books.
Should.
I like
It's a
that.
tattoo.
I wonder if he has it. If he created that, then that makes history. I like that. Rather be the hungry challenger than the fearful defender. Or defending champion. Okay. Well, you're both. You are the hungry defending champion.
I think ultimately it's hard to not just look at the world meet though at the end of the year. Certainly there's a lot of competitions between now and then, right? And they're all equally important, but we see them as chapters in our own evolution this season. You know, but October, 2026, that's ultimately where the real test is going to be for us this year. So yeah, each competition, like I said, it's a privilege. We're excited to be at each one, and really just to monitor the growth that we're having and experiencing. I think it's just small little dopamine hits that we get along the way, that we're uncovering, that keeps you hungry, that shows you there's a light at the end of the tunnel, a prize waiting for you if you're willing to work hard enough for it.
And we haven't even touched the outdoor situation, the transition, because outdoor totally different story, but I guess it'll be a too long topic for now again, unless you have something that you want to throw out quickly, because outdoor competition is a different world compared to indoor competition. We all know that right now.
I think I said it earlier. I think the sport is moving in that direction where the tunnel theory and just the mechanism of four-way in the tunnel, how radically different it's been over the years. I think it's going to slowly merge and become closer to the sky. And I think the team that can unlock that the soonest is going to bring the sport maybe to the next level. So we'll see. We'll see, as every team right now is getting ready to transition or started that transition to the outdoor arena, which one can do it the best, and start to figure that out.
And we'll see you soon again at the first outdoor competition of the year at the Shamrock Showdown in New-Zealand. I'm so excited about it. Look forward to that. Well, thank you for taking the time. Congratulations still for a great performance in Spain, and good luck for the remainder of the year and at the upcoming indoor championship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.